Hongonga mania, taleno rango, hongonga Gamania, Taleno Rangon, Hongo 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 Gamania, Taleno Rangon. Jamika Chaklania, Banya 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 Jamika Chaklania.
Warami Miriga, Gawi Bianga Garabara, Gawi Wianga Bemoma, Gawi Mujin Malan Benanga, acknowledging Father Sky, Mother Earth, and those who've walked before us, our bloodlines, our ancestors. Warami, Wellamabami Iora, Giarira Durman Jalarinya, Gilligan, Daranga, Daba, Wayanga, Dien Garangarang, Burabarongo, Bichigal, Kadumba Game. Hello, and a warm welcome to the Gadigal clanlands of the Darug Nation. We gather on country today, the land of my ancestors. I pay my respects to elders past, present, future, special guests here today, to all our First Nations brothers and sisters, and wherever you have come from around the world, welcome. My name is Peter Strawn, a proud Darug woman, wishing you all a safe passage and stay on Gadigal country. Nanga mai nini, nanga mai bujari. Calling in the good spirit, calling in the good dreaming. Nubari ngora, love country. Didrigo mirigada yan mala, warami dulia nurua. Ngala wea waru ngiringara, ngari yalamandi. Mujin malan yabon o miriga, yanma yibin darangara. Gawi, 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 gawi. Yay!
Hare Bala Hello, or should I say, g'day, and welcome to the 76th International Astronautical Congress right here in spectacular Sydney. From the Nullarbor to nebulas, Sydney to the stars, we are so pumped to have you here in Australia and for this glistening harbour city to become the centre of the universe for 1 week. We know it's a big trip for most of you, and we are so thankful to you all for making the journey from around the world, but we promise we are going to make it worth it for you. How amazing is it to think we've got a week of knowledge exchange, deal making, whole lot of fun, all framed by our beaches, the sails of our opera house, and the coat hanger that is our harbour bridge. Can I acknowledge that powerful welcome to country from our traditional owners? As space people, how special is it to be embraced and welcomed by the world's oldest continuous living culture, the world's oldest astronomers who've looked to the skies for more than 60,000 years to navigate life here on Earth? I know our entire space community is absolutely looking forward to giving you a taste of that same Aussie hospitality with a big dose of space capability. For those of you who were here in Adelaide in 2017, we have come a very, very long way in a decade, and we can't wait to show you. Now, I know my jacket is a statement, it's a lot, but there's much more interesting things to come. So please help me in welcoming to the stage the president of our organisers, the International Astronautical Federation, Mr. Clay Mowry.
Thank you, Keegan. Excellencies, especially the Governor, Her Excellency, the Honorable Sam Mostyn, AC, heads of agencies, dear space community, distinguished guests, and dare I say, my friends or mates here in Australia. Good day and welcome to the 76th International Astronautical Congress. It's a real honor to be here in Sydney as president of the IAF, the proud organizer of this IAC, and every single one of the 75 that came before it. Each one of you is an important member of our community, the world's largest international space nonprofit organizations with over 600 member organizations, including space agencies, companies, research institutes, museums, and universities worldwide. Welcome to the space family, and look around. The room is packed, the energy is electric. This is the spirit of the IAF and the spirit of connecting all space people. And this is our finest hour, every year when we gather. Some of you have traveled so far, Keegan mentioned, it actually took longer to get here than it would for an astronaut to reach the International Space Station. That's dedication and persistence, and the coffee here is worth it. I'll tell you, get a flat white while you're here in Sydney. We are one global community united by a passion for space. But passion alone is not enough, and this year's theme is clear: sustainable space, resilient Earth. As we look to the stars, we must also care for our planet. And at this moment, I want to also acknowledge Australia's First Nations peoples. Their wisdom teaches us that balance and respect are values that matter just as much in space as they do here on Earth. And I invite you all to join the host plenary later today. We're going to learn more about how traditional knowledge and modern science go hand in hand. Now let me say this. It's an immense privilege for me to kick off the IAC 2025. This is my last year as president of the IAF. It's a real privilege. And I also want to sit here and thank our wonderful hosts, the Space Industry Association of Australia, our two co-hosts, the Australian Space Agency and the New South Wales Government. A fantastic job organizing this amazing week, so thank you guys. Let me also thank the IAF Secretariat, led by Christian Feitzinger. They've worked for 3 years with our organizers here, with the LOC, the POC, on this event, and they put in tremendous work, and I can't say enough about the value of the folks that are behind the scenes here. Also, yes, please. And of course, we are not here alone as the IAF. I want to be very thankful and recognize our distinguished partners, the International Institute of Space Law, the International Academy, yes, the International Academy of Astronautics, and the Space Generation Advisory Council. Kaiuve, John, Nicole, we appreciate you. Thank you for your contributions to this event. This is actually only the 6th time that we've hosted the IAC in the Southern Hemisphere. We did it 3 times here in Australia, once in Cape Town, South Africa, once in Rio, Brazil, and once down in Argentina in Mar del Plata in 1969. Just imagine the groovy ties and the bell bottoms for that one. It would have been great. It feels fantastic to be back down under. We were here in Melbourne in 1998. In Adelaide in 2017, which is a fantastic event. Again, people said no one will come this far, and it was a record-setting IAC. And now we're here in the harbor city of Sydney. And each time Australia shows the world the dynamism of the Asia-Pacific region. Can you imagine over 1/4 of our IAF members are now coming from this part of the world, from this Pacific area? I want to thank them for their engagement. And this really, I think the work that you've done in outreach here has brought that community here from the region, so thank you. A huge thank you to our sponsors. We wouldn't be here without our fabulous platinum sponsors, the Indian Space Research Organization, the Italian Trade Agency, the United Arab Emirates Space Pavilion, and to our distinguished gold sponsors, the Chinese Society of Astronautics, the European Space Agency, the Japanese Aerospace Exploration Agency, JAXA, the Turkish Space Agency, and VAST. Thank you all. And thanks to our numerous silver and bronze sponsors. I won't name them all here, but you can see, I'll point to the slide. A fantastic group of companies. Thank you so much for all of your support. We couldn't do this without them. They put the fuel in the rocket, that is the IAC, and we couldn't launch without them. So thank you all. But the real stars of the week are here in the audience, all sitting around you, okay? It's the authors. It's the speakers, it's the exhibitors, it's the IAF committees, it's the International Program Committee. You are the lifeblood of this organization. You're the engine in this car that's driving, or the engine in the rocket that's launching. And we are really thrilled to have you here. You're what make this organization special. We are now 7,600 people here in Sydney, so congratulations on that, reaching that goal. And I'm told, by the way, later in the week on Public Day, maybe another 7,000 are coming, so we will shatter all of our previous records if we have 14, 15,000, so fantastic work. Look, this week you're gonna debate, you're gonna share ideas, discuss, get lost once or twice, maybe not as much as Milan. It was a maze last year, we know that. You're gonna reconnect with old mates. And you're gonna discover the next rising stars in the field of space. Some of you may even make decisions that are gonna shape the future of space and where we go. I've seen it happen at the IAC. There's a handshake that can launch an entire career, create a new space company, or build an international partnership that is gonna allow us to explore the universe. That's the magic of this community. And that's why we're here. And this has been an amazing year in space. From the new Artemis Accord signatories that now total 56 nations, to breakthroughs in Earth's observation, to the launches of the New Glenn rocket, the Starship rocket, Ariane 6, and Senju, our field is buzzing with progress. Space never stops surprising us with what we can achieve off of Earth. You have so many possibilities this week with a program packed with excitement. We have 3,500 speakers this week. That's a lot. We have more than 40 panel sessions on topics. We have 200 technical sessions and 200 booths to see in the exhibition hall. So please really join us for what we call the Olympics of space. We feel privileged to also welcome this week an incredible array of astronauts that are part of the International IAF Astronauts chapter. So welcome to all the astronauts that are here. You'll see them in their flight suits or you'll see them with their astronaut pins. Please say hello, introduce yourself, and we're glad that you're here with us. And finally, we were going to host this week the second edition of the IAF Global Space Leaders Summit with nearly 50 heads of space agencies from well-established to emerging spacefaring nations around the world. So we're really excited about this. We had a huge inaugural kickoff in Milan, and we're really excited to have them back here. So welcome all the space agency leaders. Almost done. Let's make connections, let's share knowledge, let's push the boundaries together. Oh, and one last thing, while you're here, make sure you enjoy Sydney. Make sure you enjoy Australia. Walk the harbor, take in a flat white, try some fish and chips, go see a koala, don't pet the koala. And if somebody tells you no worries, believe them, that's Australia. Thank you, let's get this Congress started.
the skies tonight. We will wave back at you.
Thank you, Clay. Thank you to the entire IAF team. Now, please welcome the chair of the IAC 2025 Local Organising Committee and board chair of the Space Industry Association of Australia, Mr. Jeremy Hallett.
Hi everyone. I wish I could see you more from up here with the bright lights in my eyes. It's an amazing crowd we have here today. My name's Jeremy Hallett and I'm the chairman at the Space Industry Association of Australia, your host for this week and also chair of the Local Organising Committee for the event. It is such a pleasure to welcome you all to Sydney, and may I please especially acknowledge Her Excellency the Governor-General of Australia, the ministers and members of Parliament who are here, the heads of space agencies, government officials, and our colleagues and friends from industry and academia. And in my mind, most importantly, half of our attendees, young professionals and students who are the today and tomorrow of our field. I would also like to acknowledge our colleagues from the IAF. You just heard from Clay, the president of the IAF, Gabriela Arrigo, who is our incoming president of the IAF as well, and also Christian and Elena Fechtinger. Thank you for your leadership and support throughout the last 4 years now as we've been on this journey and entrusting this event to us here in Sydney. Closer to home, and I can't see you, Lisa. Oh, there you are. I'd definitely like to thank Lisa Vitaris, our director. Yes, please. It sounds like you all know her, which is unsurprising. She's been everywhere. Seriously, this event would have not happened without Lisa's efforts and her leadership over these last couple of years. So immense thanks to you, Lisa. And indeed, our co-hosts from the Australian Space Agency and the New South Wales Government, thank you for all your support as well. Our theme this year is Sustainable Space and Resilient Earth. And some of you may have heard me say in the past, we think about this in 3 different ways. Important for us is how we use space for sustaining life here on Earth. Also important is how we make sustainable use of the space environment so we can assure access to the orbits we need for generations to come. And as we look toward the stars, sustaining life off Earth as we consider humanity amongst the cosmos. And we know you love Sydney, and that's why you're here. The space is good, but Sydney's good. And Sydney is a global city as well. And I'm really excited this week about the strength of the Indo-Pacific presence here at IAC. We have thousands of delegates, not just from Australia, but from across the Indo-Pacific, Japan, China, Korea, New Zealand, and throughout Southeast Asia and the South Pacific as well. I think together, we are showing off the ambition, creativity, and momentum of this region when it comes to space and the essential role we play in the space community. One of the other things we've really tried this year for IAC, as we look upward, we also need to look across to the industries that are enabled by space, from energy and transport to agriculture, climate resilience, and national security. Space is not a separate sector from these things, but a foundation of all of our modern life. So I encourage you this week, take inspiration from our theme, meet people that are new and old friends, share ideas boldly, and think about how your work connects across the borders, or across industries and across generations. On behalf of the organising team, thank you once again for your attendance. I wish you a wonderful and unforgettable week. Thanks very much.
Hello everyone, my name's Kerry Doherty and I'm a space historian with the Australian Space Agency. Australia has played a role in space activities since the very beginnings of the space age. Our can-do attitude, our make-do tradition and our spirit of mateship have fostered technical innovation and international partnerships that have contributed to the exploration and utilisation of space. And today, our space capabilities are inspired by the technical skills, the innovation and vision, and the determination of all of those who've striven to go up from down under. And across the opening ceremony today, we're going to celebrate a few highlights from Australia's rich, though often unrecognised, history of space activities spanning 70 years. And we're going to spotlight some people who were part of that story. Some of them worked quietly behind the scenes, and others have played national and even international roles. I'm Kerry Doherty, and it's my privilege to preserve Australia's space history. Thank you and welcome.
The Woomera rocket range may be deep in the Aussie outback, a long way from the buzz of our cities. But when the space age began in 1957, it felt like the centre of the universe.
At the Woomera rocket range in Australia, 3 successes for Blue Streak. 3 launches, all perfect. Blue Streak is to be the booster section of a 3-stage rocket to put a satellite into orbit.
In 1967, Australia built RESAT-1 and became one of the first nations to launch its own satellite. Just a few years later, another Aussie satellite went to space, this time from the USA. Australis Oscar 5 was developed by a group of university mates and became one of the most advanced amateur radio satellites of the time.
Hello, I'm Heather Milhench. I was a human computer from 1960 until 1963 at the Weapons Research Establishment's Satellite Centre, known as SATCEN, located at Salisbury, near Adelaide. Our team of 4 SATCEN girls, and we were just young women not long out of school, calculated satellite passes over Australia to help the citizen scientists of the Moonwatch groups around the country make their satellite observations. We were just a small part of Australia's hidden figures, women who did the heavy number-crunching work for WRE's defence and space research activities at Salisbury and at Woomera Rocket Range, at a time when electronic computers filled the entire rooms. At the dawn of the space age, Woomera was the heart of space research in Australia, and human computers played a vital role in supporting Australian and international space projects conducted there. I'm proud to have played a part in this work. My name is Heather Milhench, and I'm part of Australia's space history.
I'm Dr. Owen Mace, part of the team of students from the University of Melbourne who designed and built Australis Oscar 5, the first satellite built in Australia. In 1965, we decided to have a go at building an amateur radio satellite. After tracking early satellites, including Project Oscar, launched by the American radio hams. I have one of our team members, Richard, in the audience here today. Now, I should say that the Cold War meant we had virtually no information about space, and so everything was done from first principles. We had very little money, so we made do with things in all sorts of ways. Steel measuring tape for antennas, bed springs to push the satellite away from the carrier rocket. Australis was built and delivered in June 1967. but we had to wait until 1970 to hitch a ride with a NASA launch. Thank you, NASA. It's a long story, but I'm proud to say that the team wasn't deterred. I went on to a career in the space sector. Please have a look at the Australis full-scale model in the Australian Space Agency stand. My name is Dr. Owen Mace, and I'm part of Australia's space history.
I think I might need a few moments across today. I'm getting quite choked up listening to those presentations. It is our great pleasure to have another very, very special guest with us this morning, a lover of space who also happens to be our nation's head of state, Governor-General, Her Excellency, the Honourable Ms. Sam Mostyn, AC. Please join me in welcoming Her Excellency to the stage.
Well, good morning, everybody. As others have said, I wish I could see all of you because the energy in this room, in this conference centre and around Sydney, with so many of you travelling such distances to join us, is truly astonishing. After that beautiful, very beautiful ceremony to welcome us here to Gadigal land, I'd like to acknowledge the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, the traditional custodians of the lands we meet on, and I'd like to pay my respects to their elders, past and present and emerging, and to all First Nations people who are joining us at the Congress from all over the world. For Australians, it is a great source of pride to see that continuing connection to the culture, land, water and skies brought to life on this stage this morning. In my office in Government House in Canberra at Yarralumla, I have very many things that I share with visitors. One of them is the First Scientist book by Corey Tutt, and a number of books about the first astronomers. And visitors to Australia and to Canberra are always delighted to see us celebrating our First Nations, who go back 65,000 years or more in this country. There's a few people I would like to acknowledge. I know he's not here quite yet, but I do want to acknowledge the Honourable Chris Minns, MP, Premier of New South Wales, and congratulate everyone involved in New South Wales for the hosting of this magnificent Congress. The Honourable Anulak Chanthifong, MP, the New South Wales Minister for Industry and Trade. I'd like to acknowledge my new friend who I'm sitting with, Mr. Clay Morey, President of the International Astronautical Federation. Enrico Palermo, Head of the Australian Space Agency. Mr. Jeremy Hallett, who you've met, Chair of the Space Industry Association of Australia. I also want to acknowledge a few people, and you're getting to know them on the stage as they tell the history, but I want to acknowledge John Saxon, OAM, Michael Dinn, OAM, and Graham Stevens, AC. And I use their post-nominals very particularly because this year they have all received recognition through our Australian honours system and are participating in the Congress. I also acknowledge Catherine Bennell-Pegg, Australia's first astronaut, and to all the astronauts who are here joining us. I will say something shortly about John and Michael and Graham and Catherine. This history story has made me feel very attached to the history of space. I think space is something grand, it's an adventure, but to hear the space story told in the intimate, personal stories of those that are coming on the stage this morning is really very beautiful. I want to acknowledge all of those who are telling their story, the people's story of Australia's space history. I also want to acknowledge, as your Commander-in-Chief here in Australia, the many senior members of the Australian Defence Force who join us, ministers and members of parliaments from over 40 nations, the heads of space agencies from around the world, and the many First Nations experts who are in the room who will be attending many of the sessions that you'll be attending later in the program. And of course, every one of you is a distinguished guest here, whether you've travelled across the world or simply across the harbour to join us. You are all incredibly distinguished guests at this Congress. Beyond celebrating the past, I want to congratulate the IAC 2025 team for looking to our future. Tonight, the plenary is dedicated to elevating First Nations knowledge systems and unlocking new insights into space and sustainability through structured collaboration with Western science. Braiding millennia-old custom, law and practice with modernity is a compelling manifestation of Australia's unique three-part national story. And with so many international guests joining us, I want to take a moment to share with you that extraordinarily strong, successful, braided story. It starts, as you now know, with 65,000 years of continuous Indigenous history and culture that echoes across the country in the generous and purposeful sharing by First Nations people. Then joined by the stability, equality and prosperity assured by the strength of our democracy, our institutions of government, the fact that we have parliaments, that we have an independent electoral commission, that we have compulsory voting, that we have governors-general. And then our modern chapter of optimism, of belonging and progress, underpinned by remarkable multiculturalism. Over 8 million people joining to become Australian citizens in the last 50 years and almost 1 million refugees. Today, as we launch the 76th International Astronautical Congress, where the world space community comes together to access the latest advancements and trends, to listen and to learn, to be curious, to connect and collaborate, you are all looking to the future, not just of space and the world, but the next chapter of my country, of Australia, a story of modernity and belonging, of care and respect, where we are shaped by the magnificent achievements of our history, unbound by limitations and ready to explore the universe. Now, I would like to especially welcome international guests. That 90 nations are represented here says so much about the opportunities that this Congress will bring. I know that for many of you, and I've met some of you this morning, it's a welcome back after IAC Adelaide in 2017. But as you've already heard, the Australian space ecosystem of today is very different to the one displayed in Adelaide just less than a decade ago. It's a richer, more dynamic sector, bubbling with momentum, activity, and great success. I think that reflects our national character and the mood of the nation as well. I hope many of you will visit the Australia Zone on the exhibition floor across the course of the week, more than 1,200 square metres of innovation and inspiration to see the rapid capability uplift we've experienced in recent years. And for those of you who are in Adelaide for IAC 2017, I think you'll be somewhat astonished at just how significant our growth has been. There are 40 active industry projects being supported by our Australian Space Agency alone. This, in addition to the activity being driven out of our world-class research institutions, universities and organisations like our National Science Agency, the SIAA. For our international guests, I want to share with you something that we love to reflect on in Australia. It's our Bureau of Meteorology, the CSIRO and Geoscience Australia that are amongst some of the most national trusted institutions, most trusted by the people of this nation. Australians trust science. We advocate for it and we create an environment where it flourishes. We care about our institutions, and that care for civics, for our future and how we treat one another is at the heart of our stability and we believe our potential for the future alongside all of you. Those values help unlock practical advancements. Now, since many of you visited, Australia has also restored our status as a spacefaring nation with a range of historic launches and returns. From NASA sending rockets in the top end to commercial launches and returns down south, as well as our homegrown rocket development and launch efforts. Australia's geographic advantages are well known and are obvious, but through coordinated efforts, we are positioning Australia as a regional launch and returns hub. And this builds on our very proud history that you'll continue to hear about this morning. When I was sworn in as Australia's 28th Governor-General in July 2024, I reflected on the tremendous optimism I feel for this nation, for Australia. I mentioned in my speech to the Parliament when I was sworn in a range of recent achievements by Australians across the arts, sport, science, research and diplomacy sectors. The one I love to mention though, and it was wonderful to do so in the Parliament, and to mention her by name, was Catherine Bannell-Pegg, Australia's first woman astronaut. Something was important for me as only the second woman Governor-General, but the first person to train as an astronaut under the Australian flag. I'm so pleased she's here today along with all of the global astronauts, because I know that there are young people, girls and boys, all around Australia who have been inspired by Catherine. I saw it again yesterday when I saw coverage of her visit to our air show in Richmond to see little people, young Australians who now are interested and curious about space. I hear from them wherever I go. Now, Catherine is far from alone as a role model and inspiration. In recent months, I've had the opportunity to see firsthand Australia's half-century story of partnership in deep space communication, navigation and mission support. Just last week, I had the honour of presenting Distinguished Professor Graham Stevens, AC, with the Companion of the Order of Australia, our highest national civilian honour, at an investiture ceremony at Government House in Canberra. Professor Stevens is the Director at the Centre for Climate Sciences within the NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory. His impact extends well beyond his own research, spanning observations, theory and numerical modelling, and ranging from detailed mathematics and physics of light to big picture descriptions of our climate system. Similarly, as I indicated at the beginning, at investiture ceremonies earlier this year, it was my great honour to meet John Saxon OAM and Michael Dinh OAM. John was on the console at Honeysuckle Creek Manned Spaceflight Tracking Station the day Neil Armstrong walked on the moon. And Michael is the last surviving tracking station director or deputy director of an Australian station to be involved in the Apollo moon landings. To say that I and others were overwhelmed by the chance to absorb the first-hand accounts of people present for some of the most historic moments of the 20th century is an understatement. Being part of history, what was compelling about John and Michael was not just what they'd done, but their passion. Both fervent supporters of education and outreach, they've spent their entire lives inspiring others. That's why I'm enjoying the stories this morning on stage. We're feeling that same inspiration of those who are part of Australia's history. And I hope that perhaps some of the Australians in the room today began their own careers marvelling at space and the work of people like Graham, John and Michael. That we celebrate these remarkable individuals through our national honours system says a lot about the prestige that Australians place on space. And given the momentum in our space industry, I look forward to many, many more people being recognised in years to come, both to celebrate their individual achievements and to recognise the critical importance to the world of so many who give their lives to our future and to space. And while I've highlighted just a few individuals, I know and appreciate that nothing in this industry is an individual endeavour. You've heard that all morning. Behind and with every single person is a team. And similarly, our nation's momentum in space has been realised through working with our international partners. Australia is truly and rightfully proud of our capacity to come together, to work in partnership and together achieve great things. That's how we think of mateship. And we're in the next chapter of a half-century story of partnership in deep space communication, navigation and mission support. Since IAC 2017, when the Australian Space Agency was announced, we've been focused on building on our geographic advantage, investing in the infrastructure, capability, people and partnerships that ensure we are now primed to be an even more active collaborator. In a shifting global environment, we believe that Australia remains an experienced, trusted and capable partner in space. We see this through the growing partnerships with the United States, the European Space Agency, or our ongoing work to connect the Indo-Pacific region through long-time partners like Japan and India, as well as new collaborations, very importantly, with our very special neighbours in the Pacific. I've very much enjoyed meeting Dr. Hiroshi Yamakawa, the president of Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, on my recent visit to Japan to celebrate Australia Day at World Expo Osaka. I'm hoping to see Dr. Yamakawa again during his visit to continue our discussions that we began on that night. It's also very special to welcome Minister Pei from the Solomon Islands, Minister for Environment, Climate Change, Disaster Management and Meteorology to IAC this week. As potentially the biggest benefactors of space technologies, it's vital that the Pacific has a seat and a voice at these very important tables. The Minister is among several leaders from the Pacific joining us here, and we look forward to bringing more voices into regional and global space discussions. So, with all of that behind me, thank you for all of you for attending the 76th International Astronautical Congress. The program, its scale, the calibre of speakers, the attendees, all of you and those that are yet to join us and the members of the public that will come on later this week, it's astonishing, it's remarkable. I'm very proud as Australia's Governor-General that I get to stand here on behalf of all Australians to congratulate you all, congratulate all the organisers and welcome all of you that have come so far and sometimes not so far to be here at IAC. I'm eager to hear about what you achieve and for that to become part of the stories that Australians will tell at the end of this Congress. I hope you take the energy of this morning into the rest of the Congress, back home to all of your nations, your families, and those that are missing you at the moment, and tell the great stories of Australia. And let's look forward to a wonderful, sustainable, peaceful future in space. Thank you.
Ingarada, Guarada, Maina, Wingaro, Yagarama, Burbagada, Ingarada, Guarada, Maina, Wingaro, Yaganama, Berbagada.
Ingai Manu. Space tracking is etched in Australia's cultural identity. Our role in broadcasting the Apollo 11 moon landing to the world is folklore, central to one of our most iconic films, The Dish.
The Americans spent 10 years, billions of dollars to let us watch man walk on the moon, and in the end it falls to you blokes. I mean, how do you feel about that? A lot better before you opened your trap.
Here's SB1. Termination activity, over. Roger, understand. I'm going to step off the limb now. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
With a unique view of the sky, large expanses of land, cutting-edge infrastructure and deep expertise, Australia continues to be an invaluable partner that tracks major international missions to this very day.
Hello, I'm John Saxon, and I was a space tracker for 30 years, helping to put astronauts on the moon during the Apollo missions and supporting deep space exploration. Space tracking is Australia's oldest continuous space activity, taking advantage of our particular geographic location. I was lucky to come to Australia in the 1960s and become an operations supervisor at the Honeysuckle Creek Manned Spacecraft Tracking Station, which supported all the Apollo and Skylab missions. I was on duty after Apollo 11 landed on the moon, and we brought to the world the television images of Armstrong's first steps on the lunar surface. From the mid-70s until my retirement, I was involved in deep space tracking, working on to support many significant missions, including the Viking Mars landers and the Voyagers that explored the outer solar system and are still sending back data from interstellar space today. I'm proud that just this year I've received an Australian honour for my work in this area. My name is John Saxon, and I'm part of Australia's space history.
Australia is a big, beautiful, and sometimes wild place. Our land of sweeping plains, droughts and flooding rains, awes and challenges us. Out of necessity, we became innovators in using space to address everyday problems.
August the 27th, 1985. The Space Shuttle Discovery blasts off from Cape Canaveral, Florida, carrying Australia's first telecommunications satellite.
AusSat helped us bridge the tyranny of distance, connecting the farthest corners of our vast landscape. While Aussie developed software turned satellite imagery into armour to protect our natural wonders like the Great Barrier Reef, and supercharged our agriculture and resources industries to become the powerhouses of our economy.
Hello, I'm Gordon Pike, and until I retired in 2009, I was partly responsible for much of Australia's communication satellites assets. Of the 12 satellites that have been built and launched for Australia since the first in August 1985, which you've just seen, I played a leading role in 10 of them. And for those of you who are doing the maths, the last two were launched after I retired. And but I was a consultant for both of those programs too. This year, we celebrate 40 years since Australia became one of the earliest nations to establish a domestic communication satellite system. Known as AusSat, the system brought modern communications to the more remote parts of Australia and provided access to vital services like the Royal Flying Doctor Service and the School of the Air. This enabled remote communities and homesteads to receive television for the very first time. We also delivered the world's first domestic mobile satellite system, which was called MobileSat, surprisingly, and provided some services across Australia and, would you believe it, even parts of Antarctica. AusSat has since been absorbed by 4 other telecommunications companies over the years, and I am very proud to have been part of its achievements. I'm Dr. Gordon Pike, and I'm part of Australia's space history. Very proud.
Thank you, Gordon. Each year, the IAC is more than just an opportunity to collaborate and connect. It's a chance for us to celebrate the achievements of our wonderful global space sector. The IAF World Space Awards are presented for an outstanding contribution, or contributions plural, in space science, space technology, space medicine, space law, or space management of exceptional impact to the world's progress in astronautics. To present the awards, please welcome back to the stage IAF President Clay Mowry and Vice President Asanda Ntasana.
Good morning again. It's time for us to come together to celebrate and recognize incredible achievements of our community. Year after year, we continue to push the boundaries of science and discovery through excellence. And that's why I'm here with Asanda this morning to honor some of the greatest accomplishments of 2025. The first award we are proud to present is the IAF World Space Award. This is our most prestigious honor. It's to recognize a person, and it's given to the outstanding contribution of world's progress in astronautics. Asanda, would you do the honor of telling us who the winner is this year?
As Vice President of the International Astronautical Federation, it is my great honor to announce that the World Space Award for 2025 in the individual category goes to Jeff Bezos! To receive this award, we are pleased to welcome on stage Mr. Phil Joyce, Senior Vice President for New Shepard, on behalf of Mr. Bezos.
Now the stage is yours, Mr. Joyce, to say a few words.
Thank you. I'm clearly not Jeff Bezos, but he asked me to express his sincere regret for not being able to be here in Sydney, and his sincere gratitude to the IAF and to all of you who are continuing the great mission of space exploration. As you may know, Jeff has had a passion for space exploration since he was a child. The vision of Blue Origin is bold. It's millions of people living and working in space for the benefit of Earth. That vision is not inevitable. It will be created by the hard work of everyone in this room and to the next generation of explorers and astronauts whose accomplishments we can't even imagine. Jeff is humbled to accept this award. Thank you for this recognition, and thank you to all of you who continue to build the road to space. Thanks.
Thanks. See you, man. Thank you, Phil. Really appreciate it. Phil leads the New Shepard program at Blue Origin and is doing an incredible job launching humans into space these days. So congratulations to both Jeff Bezos and to Phil Joyce on your success. Of course, we all know that the greatest achievement in space are rarely the result of a single individual. They're born of teamwork, collaboration, and perseverance. And that's why we are also celebrating today the World Space Award Team category. Asanda, would you please announce the winner?
I am honored to announce that the World Space Award for 2025 in the team category goes to the Chang'e 6 mission. To receive this award, please welcome Mr. Hu Hao, the chief designer of China's Chang'e 6 mission.
The floor is yours, Mr. Hao.
尊敬的女士们、先生们，感谢大会主席对我们的奖项，也感谢我们国际同行对我们嫦娥6号工程的认可，更感谢我们的团队团结合作取得的这一历史性的成就。
Dear ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, thank you, Mr. President and the Vice President of International Astronautical Federation. We appreciate the international recognition of Chang'e 6 mission. And I would like to thank our sincere partners who participating in the international payload piggybacks. Most importantly, I'd like to thank all the colleagues in our teams, adding more success to this mission.
探索宇宙奥秘，增进人类福祉，是我们的梦想。通过航天科技的发展，愿我们携手共进，共同创造更美好的未来。谢谢大家。
Exploring the universe, enhancing human well-being is our stopless dream to pursue together. We hope with our joint hands, the space technology will better serve a bright future for all humanity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Hao. Appreciate it. And now it's time for the IAS Excellence in International Cooperation Award, presented annually to an individual who has demonstrated outstanding dedication to promoting and facilitating global engagement and cooperation in the space sector. Asanda, the honor is yours.
The Excellence in International Cooperation Award for 2025 goes to Pascal Ehrenfrath. Please welcome on stage, Pascal. Thank you.
dear Excellencies, distinguished participants, and of course also colleagues and friends. It's really a big honor for me to receive this award, and I accept it with gratitude, but not only for myself, but on behalf of the many partners, colleagues, agencies, companies, and of course also students who have worked alongside me to build bridges across the global space community. And many of them, although I don't see anything, but many of them are in this room. We are living really in a defining moment for space around the world. New nations are joining the spacefaring community. We just heard how many nations and countries actually are here. We have a commercial innovation which is reshaping, how we explore and use space, and we have ambitious international programs and their representatives here, which are preparing us to return to the moon, journeys to Mars, and deepen our understanding of planet Earth, which we have heard a lot today. And at the same time, we also face urgent challenges managing an increasingly crowded orbit and safeguarding the space environment. So international cooperation is the key of progress. This award reminds us all that our greatest achievements are not only measured in technology progress and the payloads we are launching, but also in the trust we build, the data we share, and also the shared vision we inspire. And we have heard that and seen that in this opening ceremony. Let us continue to make space a platform for peace and discovery, innovation and opportunity for all, and especially for the next generation, which is so prominent also at this conference and which will shape the space sector in the future. This Congress, the International Astronautical Congress, is a vital forum for this endeavor. Space is no longer the limit. It's really our shared frontier, and I thank you very much for this great honor.
Thank you. As you all know, Pascal was president of the IAF before me. It was an honor and a privilege to follow in her footsteps, and just a tremendous force of nature here in our community. Thank you. So thank you, Pascal. Thanks to all our honorees tonight, or today, I should say. Those awards are a reminder of what is possible when vision, determination, and collaboration come together. On behalf of the IAF, congratulations to all the recipients, and thank you for being part of this celebration this morning. Thanks.
Thank you, Clay. Thank you, Asanda. Maybe another quick round of applause for all of our winners. It's a great reminder that behind the big production that is in IAC, it's always about the people. With that in mind, now let's continue our journey through Australia's space history.
From the sound of the kookaburra to the vast silence of orbit, not many people from down under have risen above Earth's atmosphere. Paul Scully Power was our first. Andy Thomas was our most frequent. Chris Bosch-Heisen and Elaine Hyde went to space with Blue Origin, while Eric Phillips went from standing on Earth's poles to seeing them from space on the Fram-2 mission. Phil Chapman was a NASA scientist astronaut in the 1960s, but never flew. Megan Christian is a member of the European Space Agency Astronaut Reserve. And in 2024, Catherine Bennell-Pegg became the first qualified astronaut to represent Australia. While our mark may be small, it is growing. And there's now Aussie flags on the suits, inspiring a whole new generation.
That's all right, don't worry. All right, I'm Paul Scully Power. and I was the first Australian to go to space. Before I really get started, though, I want to congratulate the IAC. When you think about it, it's a big auditorium, the escalator works, the teleprompter works, and the sound works. So almost 41 years ago to the day, I flew as a payload specialist on the Space Shuttle Challenger. And that was before the accident, I might add. I have been asked whether I flew before or after the accident, believe it or not. It was called Mission 41G, and I spent 8 days orbiting the Earth. But actually, and especially in America, I'm known for something which is more interesting than that. And that is, it turns out I'm the first person ever to launch into space with a beard. And I think to this day, I'm still the only person to launch into space with a beard. And there's a big story behind that, and I'm happy to tell you later. But before I was selected, I was working in the astronaut office in Houston. You've got to be in the right place at the right time. I was working for the US Navy at that time, and I was working as an oceanographer. So on my flight, it was the first space shuttle flight that was dedicated to Earth sciences, and that's how I got the gig. But I did oceanography from space, the first person to do that. And most people don't realize that the ocean is actually a heat sink, and the ocean drives the long-term weather. So one of the things that I was able to do is I discovered that many parts of the world's oceans have spiral eddies. And so their dynamics they're smaller than the big eddies you see in the atmosphere. But in a sense, they control a lot of what happens in the ocean. And the ocean controls the atmosphere and the long-term weather. So people don't realise that if we're ever going to get net zero, we've got to look at the ocean. And then my path to space was followed just 12 years later by Andy Thomas, who I think you all know. He became the first Australian national mission specialist in 1983. He made 4 space flights. His first in 1996, and he became the first Aussie to do a spacewalk in 2001. So here I am today. I relish my role as an advocate for Australia's sovereign space industries. And just before I finish, I want to give a shout out to Roger, who will be after Catherine. We all stand on the shoulders of giants, but Roger Franson is a giant. He is the engineer who set up most of the space engineering in Australia, and you're about to hear from him. So once again, I'm Paul Scully-Power. I'm part of Australia's space history. Thank you very much.
I'm Australian astronaut Catherine Bennell-Pegg. As a young girl, I looked up to giants like PSP and Andy, hoping with all my heart that I too would have the chance to be an astronaut. It at times seemed like an impossible dream. Australia didn't even have a space agency. So, like many of my era, I left Australia to pursue a space engineering career. But the establishment of the Australian Space Agency in 2018 brought me home, and others too, many of you in the audience today. In 2023, I began basic astronaut training at ESA's European Astronaut Centre, and last year I graduated as the first astronaut under the Australian flag, which I'm very proud to wear on my shoulder here. Thank you. Since then, I've been working with my colleagues to use the training to open doors for Australian scientists and engineers, and travelling around the country meeting young kids with that same wide-eyed optimism I had as a young girl here in Sydney, lying on the northern beaches, gazing up at the stars. And that is the power of space, and a dream, and I hope a reminder for all Aussies to strive for whatever their goal may be. I'm Catherine Bennell-Pegg, and I'm part of Australia's space history.
Aussie ingenuity is renowned around the world, and our space sector embodies that innovative spirit and creative problem solving. It's ingrained in our DNA. Across the 90s and 2000s, Australia used this spirit to carve out niches in space, working alongside our international partners like the US, Europe and Japan on combined ambitions and challenges.
The country's first satellite in more than 30 years.
Rode into space today on the back of a Japanese rocket, and scientists in Adelaide will use it for research.
SIAA ignition and liftoff.
From the Endeavour Space Telescope to FedSat, and the first ever IAC in Australia, the turn of the century was the spark before the flame.
Hello, I'm Roger Franzen, and I'm an engineer that's been part of the Australian space industry for nearly 40 years. I gained my early experience working in the United Kingdom and in Europe, and then I returned to Australia in late 1986, just as we were starting on a period of growth for the Australian space industry. I joined a company called Ozspace, which was Australia's premier space engineering company at that time. And then I became its CEO in 1998. Among the many projects that I worked on with the Ozspace team were the long-track scanning radiometers for the European Space Agency remote sensing satellites, the Endeavour ultraviolet space telescope that flew on the shuttle twice on STS-42 and STS-67, and Australia's centenary satellite, FedSat, that was launched in 2002 on the Japanese H-2A rocket. These were just some of the highlight examples of Australian space capability. That period has passed, but today we're seeing a new growth in sovereign Australian space capability, and I'm proud to still be part of it. My name is Roger Franzen, and I'm part of Australian space history.
Hello from the International Space Station. I'm NASA astronaut Zena Cardman with my crewmate Mike Fink.
And we're thrilled that you're attending the 76th International Astronautical Congress in Sydney, Australia.
This year's theme at IAC focuses on space innovation and sustainability, and nothing exemplifies this better than the international collaboration to develop, maintain, operate, and use the International Space Station. November marks the 25th year of a continuous human presence aboard the station, hosting astronauts from 26 countries. More than 100 countries have participated in research investigations during its time on orbit.
As members of Crew 11, Zena and I joined the Expedition 73 crew last month for an 8-month mission. We're studying how to keep astronauts healthy during long space missions, develop new treatments for infections, produce stem cells in microgravity, and grow plants in space to support future exploration. How cool is that? Together, we're working on innovative science to help understand life in space and back on Earth.
The International Space Station serves as a springboard for developing a low Earth orbit economy and NASA's next great leaps, exploring the moon through the Artemis campaign and future Mars missions. Our achievements in space science and exploration will inspire future explorers in this new golden age of innovation and discovery.
So, from NASA to the global space community, enjoy IAC. We'll fly by and over again real soon.
I'm Enrico Palermo, head of the Australian Space Agency. At this very Congress 8 years ago, the formation of an agency was announced. That moment and what followed catalysed our nation's space sector, unifying our efforts and amplifying the innovation taking place across Australia. From leading space science and research to new on-orbit capabilities and technologies improving the way we live and work. Through the launches and returns in the red dirt of our outback and upon our expansive coastlines, we have come a long way from Adelaide in 2017. Today, Australia looks to the future, not discussing what could be or sharing plans or hypotheticals. We forge ahead as a proud, spacefaring nation with much to offer our international partners. I'm Enrico Palermo, and our team at the Australian Space Agency that I'm incredibly proud and fortunate to lead is part of Australia's space history and also our future.
Yidang Jamburuburu Morinja. Good morning, all. I'm Tully Ma. I'm an engineering student and a proud Gundungurra woman. I am one of around 20 First Nations Australians supported by the Australian Space Agency to intern at NASA JPL as part of the National Indigenous Space Academy. For me, space has always been a source of inspiration. It asks us the big questions, and it shows us that how we explore matters just as much as what we discover. Space doesn't discriminate. It belongs to everyone. Because whether we look back more than 60,000 years to my ancestors, who are the world's oldest astronomers, or look forward 60,000 years into the future, it's about our planet and our people. My name is Tully Ma, and I am excited to be a part of Australia's space future.
Mayim. Sayangapa, welcome. We are Torres Strait Island Dance Group. Before we start, we would like to pay our respect by acknowledging the Gadigal people. Our elders past, present, and emerging. First dance we're going to do for you is the dance, the Sikh dance. Our song. The next dance is the dance of the moon. So where we come from up in the Torres Strait, we come from the tribe of the Comet tribe. So all of our song and dance are done using the stars, the moon, as the navigation. Hey, yo! The last dance is the dance of it's a Marab dance, the clacking of the thunder out the Torres Strait. Igom Gary,
Guaguna banga, walama, 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 nyinyi la nora, nyinyi la nora. Guaguna banga, walama, 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 nyinyi la nora, nyinyi la nora.
Wow, what a way to finish our performances, bookended by the incredible culture that we are so fortunate to have here on our doorstep in Australia. And thank you to our First Nations communities for being so generous to us today by being part of this opening ceremony. We have, yeah, absolutely. We have really approached IAC 2025 as more than just a Congress, but an opportunity to connect our entire community with space and all the ways it impacts and benefits our life here on Earth. The city of Sydney is alive with space-themed activations, from our towering 10-metre tall inflatable astronaut, Astro, in Martin Place, you must go and take a selfie, to our epic street party welcome reception tonight. And I promise you that is going to be the welcome reception that you will remember forever. That's only happened through the power of collaboration between our local organising committee, made up of our hosts, the Space Industry Association of Australia, and co-hosts, the Australian Space Agency, where I'm incredibly proud to work, and the New South Wales Government. So many elements of the New South Wales Government have come together to support IAC right back from the bid in 2021. So it's my privilege to welcome to the stage the Premier of New South Wales, the Honourable Chris Minns MP, to open the Congress.
Thank you so much, friends. Thank you for having me and welcome to Sydney. I want to apologise because I was going to open with a somewhat gloomy quote from Oscar Wilde, who once said about humanity that all of us are in the gutter. But then he went on to say, but some of us are looking at the stars. And it's my absolute pleasure to welcome you to Sydney this week on the land of the Gadigal people as we look to the stars for the biggest space and aeronautics event anywhere in the world. Friends, I'm not a rocket scientist, I'll freely admit that, but even for an amateur like me, there's something endlessly exciting about the possibilities of space. I'm sure you all saw this week, but last week I should say, NASA announced their new timelines for the Artemis project, which will, fingers crossed, see humans walking on the moon for the first time in 50 years. There's, of course, a strong case that the original moon landing was, if not the, one of the greatest days in human history. This is an international conference with a global audience, and I think you'd all agree that nothing has brought the world together like that moment. Yes, they called it the space race, and yes, it was a competition. But when the day arrived and people looked up at the stars and contemplated the genius of mankind, those national barriers faded into the background. In fact, there was an article in the New Yorker, published directly afterwards, which argued that the only jarring image in the whole event was the presence of a national flag. And they argued, it's traditional, of course, for explorers to plant the flag, and it struck us as we watched with awe and admiration and pride that our two fellows were universal men, not national men. Like every great river and every great sea, the moon belongs to none and belongs to all. And friends, standing here today and welcoming people from around the world, speaking different languages, but united by a passion for science and exploration, it's clear that space is still a universal enterprise. It belongs to none and belongs to all. The truth is, humans are drawn to mystery, and there's no greater mystery than the secrets of the universe. So while there's always going to be a natural curiosity about space, we still have to encourage it, we still have to nurture it. One of the great things about this conference from my country's perspective is that by being here this week, by all of you being here this week, you're going to encourage more Australian kids to think about space in the same way Artemis will spark in the world a new generation's interest in exploration. And next year, when my government and our state opens our new Powerhouse Museum, a museum for science and technology in Parramatta, I can tell you today that its first exhibition will be called Task Eternal, in partnership with the Smithsonian, about our ongoing quest to discover the universe. Encouraging that curiosity is really important because we've got a paradox here. As public coverage of space has drifted off and on over the decades, the importance of space technology has never been more important. People might not think about it when they're going about their business, but it would be very hard to survive a single hour in the modern world without satellites and GPS systems and, of course, all the related technology. No live TV, no digital banking, no digital maps, not calls or messages. And that's on a good day when nothing goes wrong. When Australia experienced our terrible black summer bushfires 5 years ago, we relied on European satellites to map 1,400 fires across 1.5 million hectares, all in real time. And now for future disasters, we've got 5,000 fire trucks located across our state connected to low orbit satellites to keep communication lines open during one of those emergencies. Even if people can't see it, even if it's not tangible as other goods, the progress made at this conference will touch every life on Earth every day of the year. Delegates, Sydney has the biggest concentration of space companies in Australia. Sydney companies are supporting navigation systems for Artemis. They've pulled off the Waratah seed mission last year. And just over the weekend, we announced a new partnership between our advanced manufacturing facility and the Space Machines Company to help produce satellites that repair other satellites in long orbit. So without wanting to sound too parochial this morning, there's a lot happening here in New South Wales. And if you like what you see, think about what it might mean to collaborate with one of our companies or even to set up shop right here in Australia. We've got the weather, we've got beautiful beaches, we've got a wonderful lifestyle, and we've got a cluster of universities as good as any in the world with 8 space programs producing thousands of graduates each year. Our University of Sydney rocketry team won the biggest rocket engineering competition in the world last year. And just as importantly, I think this is fair to say, and I hope it's been your experience this week, we're a welcoming country, a multicultural country, and one that wants to see this industry get bigger and better every year. So please enjoy your time here in Sydney. Thank you for coming. Thank you for pushing humanity forward. And it's my great honour to declare the 76th International Astronautical Conference officially open. Thanks so much, everybody.
Thanks, Premier. Thanks, mate. Thank you, Premier. And with that, the 76th International Astronautical Congress, IAC 2025, is now open. Here's to an exceptional week that leaves a positive mark on our industry for decades to come. For those who are involved, please follow Christian Fechtinger and the sign for the VIP tour of the exhibition. For everyone else, the exhibition hall opens a little after 12 p.m. So please go out, stretch your legs, drink in the sunshine. I think it's sunny, I'm not sure. And that fresh air out on the harbour, and get ready for an IAC for the ages. Thank you and have a great week.